All right, hello everybody. So I'm really excited about today's presentation because what we're going to do is show you basically a flip. Unfortunately, it's not all the way before. It's they've been at it for about a day, but I want to kind of walk through. This is with one of our students that's done about 7 flips, and show you what are some of the things that we look at or look for before we choose to go ahead with a flip. So the really cool thing is this flip here, the student has the potential to basically make about $70,000 in 2 months. Okay, this particular time, the market isn't the greatest, but there's still always opportunity there because if you know how to read the numbers and how to do your comparables, you can always find a deal. Okay, they're always out there. But what I really want to show you is what do we look for? When I go to a flip, what am I looking for? What do I want to see? What do we teach our students to see? So I'm going to take you guys through a video and we're going to talk through things. I'll pause a little bit here to kind of go in a little bit more detail. But this is kind of the idea is to give you a bit of a quick overview of, as we go through the site, what do we talk about and things that we look for. And hopefully you guys enjoy this. So let's start the video here.
Guys, so for this part of the course, what I want to talk about is I want to show you guys what it's like to go into a rental before it's done. I'm going to take you guys through and you're going to get to see what I look for in a place that we could potentially do a flip. Okay, so we're at the outside of this building and I'll take you through a few things that I look at when I come to the outside of the building. Okay, number one is the overall condition of the building. Okay, is it well maintained? I want to look at the gardens. I want to look at the entry. I want to look at the building. Is this place having good upkeep? Because that could affect it when you come back to sell it, right? Somebody's going to come, and if the place isn't taken care of very nicely on the outside, it may not matter how nice your place is on the inside. Somebody may not just want to be there. Another thing I'm going to look at is parking. What's the parking situation? Okay, one great thing about this place is there's a bunch of guest parking. That's an advantage to me, right? Because if I have people coming over, I don't want to have to buzz them through a gate or go down and give them a pass. I like that this has free parking. I also like that some of it is timed, so you can only be here for 20 minutes. So that's great if you have to come drop something off. You're going to know that you're not going to be waiting around. There's always going to be an empty spot to be able to do stuff. Another thing is I'm going to look at the location. All right. So this one here, we're actually close to a train, to the SkyTrain. It makes a lot of noise. That's something I'm going to have to take into account. Depending on how much I'm going to offer the place, I consider that a detriment, right? But it also can be an advantage from the standpoint that you're near mass transit. Okay, so if you are somebody that has to commute or you're someone that's buying this place that has to commute, that's a great thing, being near mass transit. Another thing is there's actually a mall across the street. So I want to take that into my consideration, okay? Because with the mall, there's going to be extra traffic, but there's also advantages. If I have to shop, if I want to go get groceries and stuff, it's a close walk. So anyone that comes here that wants to live, they may not have a car. That could be an advantage to them. Another thing is there's actually a school up the street, okay? It's not even half a block away. So if I'm selling this place, especially if it's a 2-bedroom, okay, as opposed to a 1-bedroom, I know most likely a family is going to take that place. Okay, there's going to be probably the parents with a kid. So the advantage of there being a school there could be really huge. So that could actually add to your value. So this is just, I wanted to give you guys, obviously this isn't extensive, but this is just a quick thing that when you come to your flip, you're not just looking at the flip. All right, but we're going to take you guys inside, show you some things about inside the flip. But I just wanted to take a couple minutes and just show you some of the things you want to think about when you're on the outside of the building. All right, guys, so we're here with...
So before we jump to the next section, I just kind of want to sum up sort of what we talked about there. So when you're looking at the building condition, like we talked about, a good example I'll give you is let's just say we look at the lobby and it's in need of renovation. That doesn't necessarily mean run away. You want to basically look at what are the reserves for the strata? Do they have enough money to cover something like that? And is that something that's even in the plans? If you're walking through the building and all the hallways are dirty, all the lobby's dirty, this particular place, I believe, even has a pool. You want to see that everything's in good repair because when somebody else is coming in and reviewing that property, they don't want to have to think about that as a future price to pay. Okay. You might make your spot look beautiful. So when they get to your unit, it looks gorgeous and they'll obviously be happy with that. But you have to think about the buyer that's coming in and they're going to be there long term. So they're going to have the thought process of what am I going to have to think about long term? We mentioned things like the parking there. That's always an excellent thing because for me, that's a huge thing. I hate having to run, all the way down to a spot and then come all the way back up, deal with the elevator, etc. This one had the school nearby. It had a mall nearby. It even actually has a really beautiful walking path. You wouldn't see that unless you go to site. You guys are going to hear me say this a lot in this video. You have to visit the site on your own. If you can't go on your own, tell somebody to go for you, whether it's your realtor or whatever, and give them a list of things that you want them to check. Okay, things that you want them to give you feedback on. Even worse, then, if you can't get somebody else to go, talk to the realtor that's selling it and saying, hey, can you give me a virtual tour? Can we just do a FaceTime chat? Because what can happen, and I'm just going to talk about this later, you're going to see later, is when he originally looked at the unit, the space looked a lot bigger. Okay. And they got really sold by that. But when they went to visit it, they realized that there was actually mirrors on the wall. And the mirrors were actually making the space look a lot more expansive. That's something you really wouldn't realize unless you go to the site. Okay. Also, the other thing you have to think about is when you see photos online, they typically are putting the product in its best light. If there's something they don't want you to see, they're going to make sure you don't see it, right? Or they're going to color correct it or make the colors, make it look brighter. Maybe the units are really dim, right? There's a lot you can do with the camera and photography these days to make your space look really, really nice. Another thing that we're going to talk about is, or sorry, I want to talk about is, we didn't go over this in the video, is what's the drive up like to the unit? Okay, are you going through maybe a little bit of a sketchy area or a dirty area? Okay, is it really hard to get to? Is it something that takes a lot of turns or is difficult to access? Okay, those are things that when somebody is thinking, I'm going to buy here, they're going to kind of all be in the back of their mind, especially the first time they go there and they're looking at the directions, they can't really get to it. That's gonna be like, wow, this is going to kind of be annoying. Okay, so these are just all, obviously, this isn't an expansive list. Inside the course, we'll go into more detail of like the things that you should look for. But this kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. Like, look how much stuff that we noticed just by visiting the site, and we haven't even gone into the unit yet. So I want you guys to think about that. All right, so let's continue with the video.
A seasoned flipper. You said this was, we were talking earlier, this is your 7th flip you've worked on, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, 5th condo flip. But you've done a couple of renos.
Yes.
So let's talk about this one. We're in Burnaby. What did you guys pick this one up for?
We picked this one up for 387, 500.
So we'll just say 388. And this is a 2-bedroom?
A one bedroom.
A 1-bedroom? Okay, 1-bedroom, 1 bath. And what are you thinking your renovation costs are going to be on?
We're looking at around like 18 to 19,000.
18, 19. So you're planning to be in it for basically 405, 406.
406,
right?
yeah.
Okay. And then when you ran the numbers, what are you thinking resale wise here?
We're planning to list it at 499 for multiple.
499. Oh, you're going to try to shoot for multiples? Okay.
For multiples.
So that's going to put you basically, so 420, 495. So you're looking basically about 70 grand to make. All right. That's solid. How long? So you just got this one a couple days ago?
Yes.
So what do you think the total rental is going to take? How long?
10 to 12 days.
10 to 12.
So before we jump into the renovation scope stuff, I want to talk about a couple other things there. One thing that we didn't mention in the video is the strata fees. This unit actually has very low strata fees. They're in the 300s. That's something else you want to look at, okay? With HOA fees, strata fees, whatever your building's fees are. Also, you want to look at, is there any restrictions, in the building? Because they may come into play when you go to resell it. Is it maybe a 55 plus building? Is there pet restrictions? You want to really find out that there's nothing that's unusual in the building that may deter a buyer. Also, when we were talking about the pricing, he said that he wanted to sell for $499, hoping for multiples. Even at the $499 number, and I was talking to him a little bit more off camera, they've got about $70,000 to play with within their budget. I know, he's a seasoned flipper. He was happy if he gets out 15 or 20 grand on a flip. Okay. He's not always looking for the home run. This one, luckily the numbers worked out and they're going to actually have a really good flip here. But you have to understand that not every single flip is going to be a huge profit. Sometimes they're going to be less. Sometimes we've had students make over 6 figures on a flip in less than 2 months. So right now, based on the numbers that he chose to purchase this, he's looking to basically make about $70,000 within 2 months. We're going to get into that later. Like, I think he had about 3 months closing and stuff like that. So when you're going through your numbers and you're thinking about stuff, just realize there's more than just the purchase price and the sale price. Another thing here that I want to mention is he mentioned that the renovation costs are going to be about 20,000. That's pretty good. Amin has definitely brought his prices down as he's been going through. Like I said, this is a seventh flip. He actually does it for other people. He helps them out with their flips. So don't be too intimidated that, I don't have the trades or I don't have these people for this. Some of it comes with experience. The first flip is always the hardest. All right, so let's start taking a look at the renovation now.
Dave?
Yes.
And right now with the market, probably is going to take, what, 3-4 weeks to sell, you think?
Hopefully,
Hopefully quicker?
Yeah, because the thing is, right after we bought this, another one sold for 450, but it's not renovated yet.
Oh, okay.
So there is a margin in there that we have been looking at. So like the stuff is not staying in this place. So there's another place on the 8th floor.
Yeah.
It got sold right away. Like it was like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then the other one we just got listed and got sold right away. So for like 50, like literally say $60,000 over.
So just like,
So I'm going to touch on this in the video, but I kind of want to extend it out a little bit here. We talk about, if you guys take our course, we talk about what the things you need to look for. What are the criteria you need to think about when you're going to purchase a condo, a flip, okay? And you can see Amin is already speaking about all of the right things. So he mentioned that places do not sit in this particular area, okay? There's a lot of demand, a lot of turnover. That is excellent, okay? That's huge. You do not want to buy a property, and this is where a lot of first-time flippers or people that don't have the education or haven't taken the course make a mistake, is they find a great deal, but it's actually an area that doesn't have a lot of demand, which means you're going to have to hold that property for a lot longer before you can sell it. Holding it for a lot longer means you've got longer carrying costs. Okay, well, I don't know if you're buying it outright or whatever. Most people are going to finance it. So you're going to have longer carrying costs. And also, there's going to be a lot more stress because you're going to be sitting with this place empty and waiting for it to sell. And there's potential for issues to come up. Okay, you want to avoid that. Our goal is to find properties that not only have a good purchase price and a good resale value, but also will move fairly quickly. Okay, we want to make sure that the areas we're buying in have a lot of turnover. Okay, it's a very key thing to think about. All right, let's keep going here.
we talk about, guys, in the course, is you want to make sure there's somebody with a lot of activity. You want to look at that sales ratio, which I know you guys do. You're seasoned vet now. That's awesome, man. 70 grand. Hopefully you get it done in 4 weeks. How long did it take you to close on this?
It took us like 3.5 weeks.
Oh, so they were pretty quick. They were ready to go.
Yeah.
Was it already empty when you bought it?
It was really empty, and the person already moved out, and they really wanted it gone.
Yeah.
So that's what we did, a really fast closing.
Okay, cool.
So they're only happy with the numbers if we did a fast closing.
Oh, so they were actually able to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Right. So you use that part of your negotiation, say, hey, we can close really fast. We've got the money. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's a great point he just brought up, guys, is being prepared with your financing, having money in hand that you don't have to worry, if possible, right? It's not for everybody, but if possible, if you can have your money ready to go, you can use that in your negotiations because you don't know why the person may need to get out of it. There may be a reason, maybe their mortgage is coming due, maybe there's another house they're trying to close on. You want to have all these things in your toolkit that if you can take advantage in a certain situation, all the better. I can see you've already...
Okay, I'm going to touch on the last thing we talked about, sorry. What Amin did is he made sure that he was the best buyer for this property. He made sure he used everything in his toolkit to make this as easy as a sale for the seller, right? So he's lucky enough to be in a position where they have cash on hand to purchase his property. Now, let me promise you, when he started out, he did not. He has gotten to this by doing multiple flips. He's built up his reserves in order to be able to not rely on finance and go at these a different way. Now, that's not for everybody. You can use a line of credit. There's lots of different opportunities, but this is just what he's doing. Now, another important thing I want you to think about is when you are speaking to the selling realtor, your job is to find out what is preventing them from having this place sold. It's not always just price. Sometimes there's things that you can put in place, like closing time, that will make it more advantageous for the seller that would want to go with you. Another one that it can be is maybe the place is really messy and they don't want to have to deal with cleaning it. Okay. You could say, look, leave everything that you want. We'll take care of it. Okay, that may cost you an extra grand or 2 grand in cleanup fees. But depending on the price you're getting, if it's a really good deal like this one, where he knows he's going to make about $70,000 on this, he doesn't mind if he'd have to spend an extra couple grand. He didn't have to in this case, but I'm just using an example. So basically, what I'm just trying to sum up is make yourself the most attractive buyer. And that doesn't just mean giving the best price. I have bought many properties by not being the highest offer, but buying the best offer when you take in all of the things that the homeowner wants to account for. Okay. Whether it's sometimes they want to rent back, whether there's something they want to remove from the home, whatever it is, have a conversation with the selling realtor and ask them, say, hey, is there anything else we can do to make this easier for your buyer? It's a great way to find out if there's any hidden tips. Okay, let's keep going.
You remove the carpet.
Yes.
What's your plan in this space?
Over here, we're gonna put laminate flooring.
Okay, which way?
Going this way.
100%.
All right. And then
So let's talk. Why did you choose this way?
because it looks wide open. There you go. It looks wide open. Right?
Dude, you wouldn't believe how many people will think the other way. The right way is long. Extend the room.
Yeah, it looks way better too.
Okay, so there looks like there was a lot of damage on this wall.
Yeah,
So-
because there on this wall here, it had these mirrors all the way around.
Okay.
So it looked pretty old style.
100%, I agree.
We took all the mirrors off and we just patched in the walls.
So let's just talk about, so guys, you get intimidated, you see these mirrors, most of them, they just have little bits of glue. You just have to be careful hopefully you wear gloves and stuff just in case they break.
Yeah.
But essentially you could just get a bar in behind these and you can pop them. I suggest not using metal. If you can use like a wood stake, like basically almost like a doorstop.
Yeah.
And do that in, it will break the glass because it's a little bit softer.
Okay.
But it looks like you guys didn't really have any problem. Did you just pull them or what did you do?
So we have 3-4 pieces that came out fully.
Yeah.
And we did smash out 2-3.
And it's gonna happen.
Pieces.
Yeah.
And then so basically we just put the bar behind it, pulled them out.
Yeah.
And then smashed only 2 that they're outside.
And then all you did is came back wherever the glue spots were.
Yeah.
Patched it up.
So this is the first coat, so we're still waiting for the second coat.
Yeah.
So it just happened yesterday, still drying up.
So here,
Okay, we got a little sidetracked there because, guys, I love going to these flips. I love seeing what our students are doing. But one thing I want to add here is show you is I want you to actually see the confidence in which I'm going to speaking. When he did his first flip, he had a lot of trepidation. He was scared. Okay. And obviously it's a daunting thing. It's something you've never done. He's on, like I mentioned, his 7th flip. He is walking around like a seasoned vet. Okay. He has so much confidence, so much understanding in what he's doing that he doesn't really feel intimidated with me being there or by the project. Okay. A lot of people would get intimidated if they walked into a condo and they saw the entire wall is glass, mirrors. They'd be, I don't know how to do with that. What do I do? This is another advantage of being part of PRIA School is you could actually ask in the community, does anybody see this as being an issue? Would you go after this unit? How would you deal this? And we would jump on there and we would tell you exactly how to deal with it. It's not a big deal. You're going to need to add a little bit of extra cost to patch the drywall, but in reality, it's not a problem. The other benefit is if I saw that glass, I know anybody that was going to buy that place to move into probably didn't want a mirrored wall. Okay, I don't know anybody that really wants a mirrored wall these days. So that's another thing where you can kind of add that to your advantage. But the thing I'm really trying to drive home here is if you feel intimidated to get into this business, please don't. You're already in the right place. I've already told you, go to PRIA School. We're there to support you. And you will be astonished at how fast you get that little bit of swagger in your step, that you're confident to do this, and it becomes very easy. There's a reason why we tell people that if you wanted to get in the real estate business, start with flips, because it reduces the amount of knowledge you have to learn, before you move up. If you were to jump into a single family build, it would be extremely intimidating. There are hundreds and hundreds of more things you need to consider that you don't when you're flipping a condo. Also, learning how to deal with the trades and how to communicate with them and get things. You get all that practice doing these flips. So sorry, I didn't mean to get too off topic here, but I just want you guys to watch that this is somebody that is very new to this. He's been at this for less than a year. Okay. He's cleared over $300,000 in less than a year. And I want you to see how confident he has become by putting in the work, learning, listening, asking questions, and getting to this point.
Guys, here's a quick little tip just so you know, if you're not sure if it's dry, you can actually see the color difference. So you can see how this is white. This area is pretty much dry. Here you can see it's still a beigey color. You can tell it's not dry. Now, the other thing you have to be really careful of with this is before you put your second coat, you may see this all go white and think it's dry. But in between, depending on how thick this is, it's going to be wet behind. You'll be able to see it. So what you want to do is just basically push on it, and you can feel if it's soft, or what you can do is you can try to sand it a little bit and see if in behind is dry. You want to make sure it's dry all the way through before you put another coat on top. The other thing I would do is before you put your second coat, I would give this a rough sand. Yeah, give it a rough sand before you put your second coat. Yeah, that way it's going to save you a lot of trouble. And again, I'm always a big proponent of I like doing multiple thin coats than one thick coat. That's just because I suck at drywall.
2 to 3 coats.
Yeah. Like good drywallers, some guys could get away with less, and basically almost, I've seen some guys where when they finish, you don't even, it's almost like nothing to sand.
Yeah.
I'm not that great. It's fine, but it's fun to do this stuff.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay, so you ripped off the mirrors. Obviously, you patched up the wall. You're going to paint it. So flooring, you're going with.
Okay, jumping back in here. You can see I'm in enthusiasm. It's fun. This business is fun. If you're not a hands-on person, it doesn't matter. You can hire people to do this work, but it's still really fun to go to your site and see, because you're going to see a lot of rapid progress. Okay, I'm going to put at the end of this video, just as a teaser here, I'm going to put basically where he's at in day 7. So when I went there, that was day 1. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you a clip that he put to his Instagram of what it looks like on day 7. And you're going to see how fast this project progressed. But if you are somebody that kind of wants to be hands-on, it's not hard to do this stuff. You don't have to, but it's a lot of fun when you get into it. A lot of our students have other jobs, and the reason they do this is they actually find it quite fun. They're just going maybe just to clean up or sweep up. Others actually like to do the demo. He likes to do a little bit of patchwork and just be there. He told me, he goes, this is now his full-time gig. He enjoys it so much. He likes being there, just talking with the trades. If they need something, he can run out and grab it. And he's realized it makes his flips go a little bit faster. These are all win-win-wins when you're getting this kind of project. Now, I know the point of the video is to really show you guys the behind the scenes, but this is the behind the scenes. All of this is not just about, oh, do this, do this, do this. No, it's see what it's like to be a person in this business. And Amin is that person. So you're getting to see what it's like. You don't see he's stressed out. It gets easier and easier, and it can become really fun. So I really want you guys to get that feel from this video.
Laminate?
Yeah,
assuming?
yeah.
Are you going to do vinyl or laminate? What do you think?
Laminate.
Laminate?
Yeah.
Okay. So waterproof laminate here?
Yeah.
Do the same throughout?
Throughout all the way. But in the washroom, we're doing tiles.
All right.
Like we do tiles to all of our washrooms.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So when you guys saw this space, what were some of the things that you looked at? I know you didn't see it, but when you first saw it, you've done a few of these renos.
Yes.
What were some of the things that you looked at to make sure this place was good to do a reno on? Like, what were you looking for?
I was actually looking for a wider space, like open. So like the kitchens is on the side, and then the dining area is going to be right there.
Yeah.
And then our sofas, everything are going to be on this side. So in the picture, we saw the windows, but it looked so wide open because of the mirrors. We didn't even know. We couldn't really tell how big it was until we saw the floor plan, right?
Yeah.
So like in the pictures, it looked wide open. Even if you go into the hallway, I left one of the mirrors there. I'm going to get it trimmed around.
Yeah.
So I left the mirror over there just because the hallway looks bigger when you walk in.
Okay, very
Right?
cool.
So there's a mirror right there that's left back.
Yeah. So when you came through here, you got 2 nice windows here, obviously a pretty expansive view. The nice thing here is obviously there's a mall there.
Yes.
So no tower is coming up anytime soon.
No.
Nobody's going to think about that. Did you feel that the mall being there was an advantage or disadvantage? I'm curious.
The mall being there, I took it as an advantage.
Okay.
And because the SkyTrain was right beside it.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, even if you have a family or friend over, the food court's right there.
Yeah.
So you can just be like, hey, let's go for a walk and let's have a quick bite, right?
That's the other nice thing. That path and everything is great. Yeah.
And the thing is, the building has the amenities. It has a pool in here too and everything.
Yeah.
But there's a gym right over there too. So
okay.
basically, like it matches for every type of lifestyle.
So you can really see he did his homework. He looked at everything around the area to see if I was a potential buyer, would this be good for me? And you can also see that he's thinking about the type of buyer that would come there. So one of the things he mentioned is you have family over, you're not going to have a lot of space. It's a one bedroom. You can go across the mall, go for a walk, go do something, grab a quick bite to eat. There's the walking path. He's thinking about, cheap entertainment options because obviously this unit is a little bit on the lower end of the price scale. So money is tight. It's hard to go out. It's expensive to do anything. So by being near somewhere, they may not have a car. Being near the mall, they kind of have a little bit of entertainment value. There's a gym over there. There's the mall itself. I also happen to know there's a movie theater there. I believe there's even a bowling alley there. So you have a lot of entertainment options within walking distance, which could be a really huge sell to a potential buyer. And it's also probably why units in that area sell so quickly. But the thought process he went through was ideal. You want to think about it from the point of the buyer that's going to come to the unit, not yourself, not if you were a buyer, the type of buyer that is going to come into the unit itself. Okay, just like when I'm doing a high-end home, okay, I don't live in a $10 million house. But if I'm building a home and when we're finishing it, I have to think about what are the expectations of the people that are going to buy that home. What kind of features are they looking for? They don't want a 30-inch Samsung fridge. They want a 60-inch double door Miele fridge. Okay, they want high-end appliances, high-end finishes. So same thing here. You've got to match whatever you're constructing to the particular buyer. The best way I can explain it to you is you're building a product for a certain buyer and you need to match it.
So you're pretty right on that. Some people may not like certain things, but there's definitely other advantages. That's probably why stuff in this area sells so quickly.
Yeah, that's what everything's just moving, and it's just this area is developing too. So even if you look out, a bunch of high rises are going up. Yeah. So from my point and Giles' point, it's yo, why are you gonna buy something new when you could get something that's a little bit opener and be whatever you're gonna get in there? We tried to put in here, right?
100%, yeah.
So he just gave another great point. When they looked at this, they were looking at the value add scenario. There is competing brand new units in the area. Okay, they're building towers all around there, but all of those units are 700,000, 800,000 plus to get the same, actually less square footage, less amenities, worse parking. Okay, now yes, you're in an older building, but you're going to renovate this place up, and you'll see when he finishes it, it's going to look beautiful. Okay, actually later on, he actually shows a video, or sorry, a small picture of one of the other units renovated, which is what his is going to look like, and you can see it's beautiful. It looks better than a lot of new units that are being. But what he's realized is there's going to be people coming to look in this area, and they're going to look at this older building, and they're going to be like, whoa, the strata fees probably half, the purchase price 20% less. You're going to pick up a buyer that was really struggling to get that new unit with the higher strata fees, because that obviously means their mortgage is more, right? They have more money to cover every month because their mortgage is going to be higher because they're paying more, and then they got more they got to pay for the strata, so that makes their overall monthly cost higher. Whereas they come into this unit, it's got great amenities, it's a nice building, it's clean, there's a lot of advantages. So just another thing to think about when you're going out there and you're looking. Those are things you got to add in. If you see a bunch of new buildings coming in, check their price points. Make sure your sale price point works against theirs. Okay, that can be a very great a great thing to look into to get a little bit more advantage.
We're out on the patio here. There's a few things you probably already planned for this, but things you want to do. Obviously, you're going to power wash this, right? You're going to clean this up. The nice thing is you actually have a big patio here where you can store your garbage, take it all down in one load. That makes things easier. Yeah. Are you going to stage this out here, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, we're going to stage it out here. So me and Giles were talking about putting turf on this side.
Yeah.
And the blocks on the other side.
Oh, okay. To just dress it up a little bit.
Dress it up a little bit. Yeah. And then probably put a barbecue on that side.
Oh, okay. You're actually going to buy a barbecue and put it there?
We have a barbecue, so we'll just put it up in there.
Oh. And are you going to do that for the staging, or are you going to sell it with it?
I was good for the staging.
Oh,
but if they want to keep it, who cares?
Yeah, that's true.
But then we're going to put chairs on this side. The barbecue's over there. People have the view from here. I think this view is better than that side view.
I agree. This is definitely a better view. The other nice thing here is usually on these patios, and this is why I'm always a big proponent of walking the site, is these are narrow. So if you guys actually look over to the right, if I get you to swing over there, that's typically how wide patios are. And if you try to put a chair and stuff there, there usually isn't a lot of extra room to sit. Whereas if you come to this side, it's quite a bit wider, which obviously makes it nicer to sit. So if you're going to sit out here, have your coffee, or have a table with 2 chairs, maybe have your dinner out here, there's actually room where, you know, it's not like the other patios. When you put the furniture, you have to walk around sideways like this to get it. This is like a good open space. I love your idea of putting the turf over here and then doing the wood block. You're talking about like the snap-in ones, right?
Yeah,
the floating ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll give it almost 2 rooms a feel, right? The other thing is, the only thing, they might get quite wet here, but that's going to be okay. When you do your showing, nobody's going to really care. They're going to come out here with shoes anyways.
Yeah.
So power wash this up, clean it up as much as you can. The ceiling looks okay. It's not too bad. That's another thing. Sometimes these look horrible.
Yeah.
Like when they do the forms, like you can see here where they did the forms, the wood and like all this, you can see like where the wood was.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look good. This one actually doesn't look half bad. No, this is good. This is like a really nice patio. The other thing that's nice about this place is you guys are almost at the very top of the building.
Yeah.
I think there's 20 floors above.
Yeah, so 22
So you get like a really good view. You're a little bit further away from the noise. That's a great thing. We're looking at what.
So before we jump to the next part, another thing I want to touch on that patio is, we mentioned earlier that there's a lot of new units coming in. Well, if you've gone to a new building, the patios are tiny. So when they're doing this comparison, that patio is relatively huge in comparison. You also may have noticed there was a lot of garbage on the patio. That's from when they did their demo. Here's a little bit of a sort of a side trick here. When you're looking to buy the space, you're going to have to deal with the garbage. If you have a way to store the garbage on site during the construction, when you have to get rid of it, you can do it in less trips. The other advantage is you may be able to book out the elevator. That means that you can control going up and down instead of having to wait on people. Okay, you can bring in a bin, maybe bring in a few extra people, and deal with the garbage in a shorter amount of time. This can be one of the things that we teach inside the course, to get those little small wins that give you efficiencies when you're doing your flips. Okay. Sorry, nothing. Take a really close look at this picture. I don't think we zoomed in on it enough, but you can actually see this is the picture of what the unit, I believe was a couple floors down, renovated, which sold for over 500, right? So this is kind of what he was using as comparable. And you can see really how nice the space looks once it's renovated.
What one of the previous units sold for. And what we're talking about here is, if I don't think I can zoom in on this, you can see they've defined the space behind. See how they have the couch and the living room on this side? And then they have basically they've done it as an office on the back side.
Yeah.
So they've defined the 2 spaces, and that looks visually appealing. So that's what I'm doing. The same thing here is define the space, do the TV over here. And you could, if you wanted to, you could wrap it a bit.
So what we're doing now is something that's very important when you're looking at the unit, is you want to look at, how do I want to place furniture and how do I want the unit to look in the end when it's finished? Okay, because maybe you have an opportunity to add some lighting. Lighting is huge. You want them to be as bright as possible. If anything, add more lamps when you're doing the staging. Their plan is actually to add a TV unit. So we were talking about, originally he was going to put it on the wall. It's hard for me to explain because you guys don't know the unit, but the opposite side of where I actually told him to put it. Because what you want to do is try to define multiple spaces. So in that space, we actually can have a living area and a dining area, but very well defined. It makes the room look bigger and nicer. This unit actually happens to have a very good layout that really works for the situation. But when you're going through and you're planning to purchase this place, do not care how it is set up now. Care about what can you do with it after. Okay, what advantages can you take of modernizing the layout? Now, we're not going to do anything structural. We want to be in and out. We're trying to do these renos in under 10 days. But what can you do when it comes to the staging and placing the furniture and where you put the lighting to make it look like the space is better utilized and more modern? So that's kind of what we talk about.
If you want to do cabinetry here, you could have like shelves over here and then have the TV be here with the fireplace and build it in like that. So we're going to have the sofa here like this. So you're going to see that view that way. Also, you could put a chair there too. When you stage it, have a sofa here, a little bit shorter, and then have a chair sitting like this, and then have the TV there so you get that. And then you walk in between and then have the coffee table in the middle. Okay, so we're in the kitchen, obviously evaluating, looking at the cabinets. A lot of the times we talk about reusing the boxes. They're not in bad shape, but they are the really cheap Melamine ones. And to do the door, what's your cost on just doing the cabinets brand new here?
Around 3,500.
3,500. And if you were to do doors,
Probably like 15.
so basically you're paying $2,000 extra to have.
So I need to add in something here. That $2,000 extra he's talking about actually includes brand new cabinets in the bathroom, and also includes some built-ins in the bedroom, and also the TV entertainment unit. So when we're talking about it's about $2,000 extra for me just doing the doors and new cabinetry, this is a no-brainer. The other thing is when he did his comparables, he has to match the quality of the comparable. Okay, if you go in and you see, oh, this place sold for 500, mine's going to sell for 500 once renovated, but you do a really poor renovation in comparison, then it's going to be pretty hard for you to hit that comparable price. Okay, so, and as I mentioned earlier, he has quite a large profit margin on this. So he knows that if he spends just a little bit more, and remember, he's keeping this whole rental below 20 grand, even with the new cabinets, he's got a lot of headroom. So he can add in a few features. He's got money to spend on a few features that will bring him up to the level of the other unit that was renovated and sold, so he can maximize his return. Okay.
All new boxes also means you can reconfigure it the way you want.
Yes.
So to me, on a place like this where you've got good margin, you've got about 70K of margin, I agree with you. I think it is worth it. I know a lot of people think get in, get out, save the boxes, but in this particular case, I don't really like the layout. And I think there's a lot to be gained with fresh cabinets. Also, you'll be able to hide up top there, right? You'll be able to have the cabinets go up higher because this is a lot of wasted space. And this will probably come out. I don't know if there's something behind
There's a pipe behind there.
Is there a pipe?
Yeah, because the thing is, me and the plumber looking at it yesterday.
Yeah.
So when you go from the outside here, you'll see like the box made here. So the box is connecting with that box.
Okay, that's fine. Now, is there an opportunity to remove this wall?
We could knock it out.
Because I think getting rid of this, when you basically are in the kitchen, it really will open up the space. This is a pretty narrow thing. Obviously, once again, you do have budget.
So we're talking about removing a wall there. If you're somebody that's new to this and you don't have the experience, you may be very intimidated by that, and rightfully so. I know that he's been through many projects and he understands what he needs to look for when you remove a wall and what to address, whether it's structural, how to check the plans, because the last thing you want to do is make sure that you open up or you try to remove a wall and it's structural. There's ways to investigate it before you open it up. Obviously, you can just open up a panel. He's got a bunch of drywall work that has to happen, so he can literally cut the wall open. If there's a problem, he can put the drywall back, patch it up. Nobody's the wiser. But in this particular case, I can tell by looking at it, that wall is super simple to remove and will completely open up that space. Everybody always likes having a little bit more open area. The other thing I want to touch on is, though I didn't touch on before, is the cabinets. We mentioned you have the cabinets go all the way up. That's going to make it look so much more modern. And he mentioned there was a pipe in the one wall. Well, with that inside the cabinet, it's also going to look a lot nicer because you can have the doors go all the way up. Just because when you open it, there's a bulkhead in there. The great thing is you can hide that with the doors. So in the value, when you're thinking about it, that $2,000 is becoming a smarter and a smarter and a smarter decision because of the value you're going to get out of it.
Or somebody that can do this yourself, I would try to remove this one. Not so much. It's okay. If you could, obviously, it doesn't really give any advantage to go that way. At first, I thought I would get rid of it, but I think opening this up, then you can have a bit of a waterfall. Are you leaving the stove here? Or what's your plan?
The stove is going to stay here.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have one compartment sink.
Yeah.
With the washer, dishwasher.
Yeah.
And then we're going to keep everything like this. Just move that and just have a fridge there.
Sure. Yeah.
Push these cabinets up and just leave these as it is.
Because that's another thing, guys, about when you're evaluating your price of your cabinets is there's no dishwasher here. Having a dishwasher adds a lot of value.
Yeah.
So now you're going to try to fit a dishwasher in here. I don't know if that's the right dimension or not, but you're going to end up doing a bunch of work to make these cabinets work, where investing in brand new cabinets, I agree with you, is going to make a really big difference. The thing I would also think about doing is if you do get rid of this wall, is shifting the stove over a little and having a cabinet on this side.
Okay.
Because then the nice thing they'll be able to do is when you do your countertop, you actually can waterfall the edge. Yes, it's a little bit extra expense, but it's not even that much because you're going to be paying for a slab here anyways. I think based on the amount of countertop you're using, that basically will be within the same slab.
Yeah.
So what I mean there is when you talk to your countertop guys, he's going to tell you how much material you need. You don't always use it all. There's always leftover.
Yeah.
So if you have extra, he's basically going to keep that for himself. So if you can use it, you're already paying for it.
Yeah.
Just to get him to polish and cut a little bit extra, it's probably going to add maybe $100 extra cost.
Yeah.
You have that nice waterfall edge. So I would do that. I think if you're all redoing all the cabinets, if this wall can go, if you could take a look and see if it's possible, then I would move this over and I would have a cabinet over here, right? You can shorten this a bit. And then, yeah, that's what I would do. I think it'll make a big difference in the way it looks. Just in the bedroom, nothing too crazy in here. Obviously, you're going to put new blinds.
Yes.
I see that you peeled the ceiling. I'm assuming this one was easy to come off.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you have what does the person charge you to do all the ceiling in here for the popcorn?
Everything in was like $1,000.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of removing popcorn.
Yeah.
I know me and Rick always different on that one, but 100%, I love getting rid of the popcorn. I think it makes the place look so much more modern. In here, you actually have 2 closets.
So with that closet, we're gonna have organizers in there.
Okay, nice.
And this closet, we're basically pulling everything out.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make drawers
Okay.
in there.
Yeah.
And then like drawers on the side. And then we're gonna leave like 55 inches for a TV in there.
So in this particular bedroom, it's really hard for you guys to get a sense of the size. It was actually a little bit of a smaller bedroom, which was obviously a negative or disadvantage for this unit. But what they're doing is they're actually going to put a built-in in within their cabinet pricing. The advantage of that is now somebody doesn't need to have a dresser in there. They have their additional closet over there for long storage, and he's going to put organizers in there. So there'll be lots of storage. And then by putting the dresser built into the closet, you actually are gaining about 2 feet of space on that bedroom because you don't have to walk by something or have space to fit a dresser. He's also going to leave a shelf on top where somebody could put a TV or use it for storage or possibly use it for a standing desk or something. But it gives the buyer a lot of options and they don't have to come in and be worried about, how am I going to make this bedroom work? It's too small for me. He's given them an out. Obviously, this is because he has, once again, he has that profit margin. He has that 70K budget. So he's able to do these little bit of extras.
Because this bedroom is a little bit, I would say a little bit small.
It is.
And I'm assuming you're going to have the bed on this wall.
Yeah.
So because there's already a closet here, I kind of thinking but there's really no way to gain all that back without a lot of expense, which is unfortunate. So I think what you're saying to do, give them some storage, that they don't need to have a dresser and stuff like that here. Leave them the space for the TV if they want, that's fine.
Or they could
just have a shelf.
Yeah.
Just that
Extra stuff there.
I'm always a bigger proponent of not setting the space for what they're going to do, saying putting a TV and making it only look like it's for a TV because that's only the place their mind goes.
Yeah.
I would just like to give it like a bare space and let them figure out what they want to do. Do they want to add a TV? Do they maybe want that as a shelf? Maybe they want to use that as a...
I'm not going to put no like powers or anything to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to just leave it empty. So like whatever they want to do with it after, they could just do it with.
So then when Jazz comes in and he's selling, if you want, you can add a TV here, whatever, done, right?
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so just going to talk about the bathroom here. So you're going to rip up this floor.
Yep.
And basically, you guys are actually going to tile it.
Yes.
This is because you've got the trades. It's easy for you to do. Sometimes people get intimidated by tile. Are you ripping out the entire shower? Or are you keeping the existing?
We're keeping the existing tiles, but we're going to put tiles over it.
You can put tiles over it. Yeah. Okay. Did you think about maybe refinishing them instead, or is the cost just easier to replace?
It's just easier to replace them, and the 2x2s just makes it look more luxurious.
Yeah, it makes it look nice. Yeah, okay. And the tub itself looks like it's pretty much fine.
Yeah, but we're still going to get it done.
Yeah, because it's a good value. It's like it makes it look brand new.
Yeah.
Obviously, new toilet, new cabinet.
Full mirror.
Full mirror. Okay. Yeah, nice. So you're going to go, why? Yeah, because that mirror is really small.
Yeah.
And it'll actually make the bathroom look bigger.
So that kind of wraps up the walkthrough. Gave you guys hopefully a little bit of a behind the scenes on what happens when we walk through a space. I wish I could have done it before he purchased it, but it should still give you the same idea of kind of the conversations and just where our heads are at when we walk through these spaces. So let's kind of summarize what we went through here. When you arrive, you want to look at, the building condition and make sure there is nothing that is going to cost a lot of money to repair. Is it in good shape? have the strata been taking care of it? Also, when you're looking at the purchase, what does the strata have in reserve? Is the strata out of money? Does it have a lot of money for reserves? Because that's really important. You don't, the new buyer coming in is going to be worried about that. Amenities, okay? So lots of parking there, which is great. It's near a school, great. It's near the mall. Sometimes negative, sometimes a positive. In this case, I do think it's a positive. There's a beautiful walking path. It's very close to fast transit. You know, those are all wins. Also, there's a lot of turnover in the area. That's an even bigger win. That's almost the most important one. You want to be able to sell that place quick, so he's in a great spot. Now, when it comes to strata fees, you want to check that. This place is low. Okay. He went through the rules. There was no red flags when it comes to the rules. Then he went through his comparables. He saw, based on what he has to purchase this place for, you know, he knows he can make about 70K. How did he know he can make about 70K? He went through his renovation scope. He figured it's going to cost him about 20 grand to do the reno. It's going to take him about 10 to 12 days. He went through the unit. He looked at the layout. He saw that it works. It's nice. He can take advantage of it with what he wants to do with the built-in for the TV. It has a nice big open deck. He can actually have two spaces. He can have a sitting area and a barbecue area. And, you know, overall it's good. The only downside really was the bedroom. It was a little bit small, but he came up with a solution for that. You know, they were able to add that dresser or that area, sorry, so you don't need a dresser as the storage. He went through the kitchen and the bathroom, realized, hey, you know what? Putting in new cabinets here is going to be a complete win because not only can we reconfigure the kitchen to make it more usable, we can take advantage of the dead space that was above the cabinets to make the cabinets or the kitchen look taller, make it look a lot more modern. Also add all the new fixtures, etc. The other thing is market timing. He's actually, you know, we didn't talk about this. He's actually at a really good point in the market. Okay, this is always going to be different, but you have to think about at the particular time what's the market. The market is starting to slowly rebound here. You know, interest rates are dropping, so this is a really good time. But either way, he has enough of a buffer that it doesn't really matter. Okay, this place isn't going to drop $50,000 overnight. That means the whole market crashed everywhere. So he's already built that in. The last thing is he kind of looked at the buyer pool. We talked about this earlier. There's a lot of buyers in that area. Places don't sit. He sees recent sales for brand new or renovated places. He sees recent sales for the new condos around. And he also says recent sales for people that are just buying units that are basically in the state his was and not renovated. All win. So hopefully you guys appreciated this and hopefully I gave you guys a little bit of an idea of what happens when we go through. Once again, if you have any questions, please come to prioschool.com, sign up. It's free. Ask me anything. I'm always there to help. And we'll see you guys on the next one. So as promised, here is that reno 7 days later. Okay, you're probably not going to actually believe how much work occurred in those 7 days. This is something that we train you guys to do. Okay, if you do not understand how to set up your reno to do this much work in 7 days, you definitely need to come to Prius School. You need to talk to us about the flipping course if you want to get in this business. It's so crucial to know how to line up trades and materials when it comes to getting this business because the longer you take to do it, the more money it's going to cost you. So here you're going to see the tile is all in, the bathroom cabinets are in, the kitchen cabinets are in, all of the flooring is in. He's got all his drywall prep done for painting. They're basically not far from starting to clean up, put the countertops in, put the plumbing fixtures in, and do their final paint, and they're done. You know, he's probably got about 3 days of work left here, and that thing's ready for market. So allow me to play the video here so you guys get a quick look at the walkthrough that he posted. Yeah, there you guys can see he's got floor protection down. Great work there. Kitchen cabinets are in. Looks like they couldn't remove that wall. There's the bedroom. And yeah, like, isn't that amazing how much work is done that quickly? Okay. I super proud of our students, like what they do, what they accomplish. He's even got molding and trim around the doors, the baseboard and stuff, really dressing up the space. So hopefully that gave you guys a really cool preview of kind of where this unit's going and what can happen when you get in this business and how it works. And I hope you enjoyed the behind the scenes as well. Thank you.